I'm about to show you the opening seconds of my 2008 video. Here we go. Now, I had to watch this video a lot of times while I was making it, and I'd like to think I was paying pretty close attention. But it wasn't until long after I put the video out that I first noticed the goat on the motorcycle. Did you notice the goat on the motorcycle? Let's watch it again. How did I not see that? He's right in the center of frame on the fade-in. He's even easier to spot in the raw footage.
So, here, hold that steady right there.
Yep, there he is, riding on his sweet hog. We see you now, goat. I'm Matt Harding, and I'm going to tell you all about the 2008 Where the Hell is Matt video and what went into making it. Christmas Island is way out in the Indian Ocean, just south of Indonesia, and it is home to tens of millions of crabs. I went there for the spawning season, when the red crabs come out of the woodwork and blanket the ground as they crawl toward the sea. I drove to the beach where I got that shot inch by inch because the road was absolutely covered in crabs scurrying around my tires. They were everywhere, but they always got out of the way. And they were harmless, so after a while, I actually got used to them. What I couldn't get used to, and what I did not know about before visiting, is the coconut crab. The largest land crab on Earth. Coconut crabs also sound harmless, but they got that name because they eat coconuts, cracking them open with their claws. Have you ever tried opening a coconut? Now you might be thinking, okay, that's not too terrifying. A coconut is a fruit. It's not like they eat other animals. Yes, they do eat animals. Coconut crabs are omnivores. They've been seen eating rats, cats, and in one case, a live bird. Early nautical maps tried to warn people away from the island, but it was later given a holiday-themed name change to lure in tourists, which did not work. The first time I saw a coconut crab, I was driving alone across the island, and it just crawled out in front of me.
Holy crap, that is a big crab!
He's walking right into the car, like a deer. Don't get under the car. Hey, hey, hey!
I told it to go away, but it decided my truck was its new home. Weapons were drawn. We engaged in fierce combat, and it finally backed down in the face of my valiant shooing. Now, I enjoy talking up my harrowing encounter with a scary-looking alien creature, but I honestly never considered it much of a threat until I was researching for this video. There's a group still trying to solve the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, and one of their theories is that her body was consumed by coconut crabs. Whether that's true or not, they tested the theory by laying out a pig carcass to see what the crabs would do. They documented the crabs picking the carcass clean, bones and all, in about a week. Bottom line, if you fall and injure yourself in a forest full of coconut crabs, they're not going to let you go to waste. It's going to take 3 pandas on slides to scrub that image from your brain. Okay, let's continue. I have a pretty big problem with spiders. And in general, the bigger they are, the bigger my problem. But in movies, when they get to be the size of a person, a car, or a house, it actually stops being all that scary. The sweet spot, I found, is when they're about the size of a dog. And that's exactly how big coconut crabs are. They're not actually spiders, and I kept telling myself that when I was out in the woods surrounded by them. But they are still nightmare creatures that will definitely jump on your face and lay eggs in your stomach if you sing show tunes for too long.
1 singular crustacean, every little step you take. Da 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 da. 1. Come on.
I flew to Christmas Island by way of West Australia, and I wanted to get a clip there while I was passing through. I checked out some petroglyphs and weird rock formations, but nothing really looked good on camera. There are no distinct landmarks, and really the main thing West Australia has in great abundance is nothing. So I decided to go find as much nothing as I could and dance in it. The challenge with getting this shot, especially since I was alone, was figuring out how far I could walk and still show up in the shot. This is my first attempt, in which I went way too deep into the endless void without giving much thought to the weather conditions, and this happened. There's nothing high-precision electronic equipment hates more than being covered in incredibly tiny grains of sand at high winds. I spent the long, lip-chapping walk back across the sand dunes trying to figure out how I was going to find a replacement camera before my flight out. But somehow, it kept on working. I got this shot after a much shorter hike. And yes, those are Converse All-Stars on my feet. I don't remember even owning those shoes, and I can't imagine what made me decide to wear them on a solo hike into the desert during a sandstorm. But it's pretty clear who the all-star is when it comes to sensible packing choices. In the very first dancing video I made, I used a song from the 90s called Sweet Lullaby by a group named Deep Forest. I later found out the song sampled a vocal without permission that was recorded decades earlier in the Solomon Islands. The singer, a woman named Afunakwa, was never contacted when the song became a hit, and having not done my homework, I had used her performance again without giving her credit or compensation. While I was making the 2008 video, I visited Afunakwa's home island of Malaita to try and find her. I shot this clip at a local school while I was there. I managed to track down some relatives of hers named David and Wilson. They translated the song's lyrics from the original Baigu.
Even though you cry, I still carry you, yeah?
I still carry you. Even though you cry, I still carry you. Koro inomai.
Inomai means that both parents died.
Is Afunakwa alive?
No, I think. What is he doing? Afunakwa, her son, is Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
Afunakwa's son.
Son.
How old is Jack?
I think about 50 to 60.
50 to 60.
David told me Afunakwa's son, Jack, lived on the far side of the island in the village of the Baigu tribe.
But it's good for you to come.
Yeah.
They can make a contact with them, yeah?
But when we started discussing how to get there, it was clearly a big undertaking. There was no road access, and I ran out of time trying to figure out how I was going to get there, so I had to continue on my trip. Years went by. The 2008 video came out. My life changed a lot. I bought a house, was about to become a dad, but I couldn't stop thinking about how I'd left things unresolved with Afunakwa's family. So in 2011, I went back to Malaita. I couldn't find David, but Wilson was still at the same house. Wilson had a stroke shortly after my first visit and had lost his mobility. He was stuck in the main town of Auki, waiting for his pension money so he could return to his home village.
I think this is not my mistake. I think I must wait for you. Otherwise you come in and say, oh, your friend Wilson already died. I think because of my own fate that you will come back and see me. So I managed to leave.
He asked around the next day and found that his Uncle George could take me across the island, a distance of about 20 miles.
Due to the road condition, bad condition, yeah, they charge 2,500.
Both ways?
One way.
One way?
Yeah.
Well, what about the other way? We need to pay to get back.
Yeah. Another 2,500.
They want 5,000.
Yes, because no any other way to get across.
There's no other way.
No,
What about by boat?
too far.
Wilson insisted there was no other way to get across the island, until his wife Edith chimed in with a slightly more practical solution.
Yeah, you go along the road.
It turned out there was a public transport that would take me most of the way around the island for literally about $1. And from there, we could hire a boat to continue on past where the road ended. Edith straightened the whole plan out for me. So a very belated thank you to Edith for talking her husband out of a totally cockamamie plan.
I think I will send my uncle to accompany both of you.
Wilson insisted on sending his Uncle George with us on the trip. Now, first of all, I'm pretty sure uncle means nephew. And second of all, Uncle George was the guy who wanted $5,000 from me and wasn't getting it.
I tell you that you go with them, take care of these two friends. They are my friends. Take care of them, look after them properly.
Got that, Uncle George? We made our way north around the island on a big flatbed truck sitting between bags of rice. The truck dropped us off at a canteen where we waited for a boat. There were lots of questions about why I was there.
I used the Rorowela song in a video, but I didn't know when I used it that it belonged to this place and that it was taken without permission. I want to find where the song came from, the family, and find a way to make it okay. Because I feel I did a bad thing. You understand?
Yeah, I know. I understand.
You did a bad thing.
Yeah.
Urini John Salah. Why it lugan bang alba?
Why isn't it?
Aya. Tona les walain anda sawin le doguma karaw may maselin kaniya. Walay na ne.
Story ne. So wal ne group in France ne kay ngali.
Karu belia ka.
Kay belia. Okay, ni ngali pas group France ni song ne na
Ni
video.
song ni le ka.
Okay, kali song ne karaka tuan seleni ni mantuan sila ka makita to
Te daton mata karga do.
Okay.
Okay.
Ono leksi ono no gan mas pamasin before me release everything logo.
So ni dor also pas ni ile ta ni le coat la na ne. Tagar coat wa via.
Well, no, not exactly, but also not too far off. Of course, I didn't understand any of that while it was happening. All I could think about was the guy with the beetle nut stained teeth.
You did a bad thing. You did a bad thing. You did a bad thing.
At dawn, we finished the journey to Afunakwa's village by boat. As we approached, I saw kids running down from the hillside to watch us come in. I was puzzled about why they were so interested in our arrival.
Because they see white people can
They see white people already.
Yes.
But they see us from far away and they know we're white people and they're watching.
Yes, because your skin is very white.
Is that the school there?
Yeah. This is the classrooms.
This is primary school. And you teach primary school?
Yeah, I'm a primary teacher.
I was greeted by the school teacher and then led through the village to Jack's house. I met a man named Clay, who turned out to be Afunakwa's grandson. He pointed to a bench under the house where his father was sitting. I said hello to Jack.
Do you understand English?
No.
Can you tell him we came a very long way to see him?
Okay.
He probably knows that. I made a mistake in using the song without finding out the information. So I want to come here and make an agreement with you and your father.
I mean, it's okay.
It's okay.
Your idea.
We spoke for a while about their needs, and we settled on the payment of yearly school fees for Afunakwa's descendants. It was something I could do on the spot.
$100 per person for the year? Yeah. The Rorowela that I used was very important in my life. It helped me in my life very much. And I want to repay what I owe for that help.
I found Afunakwa's son and settled my debt to her. I paid the school fees for her great-grandchildren, and before I left, a few of them got together and danced with me. World Vision is a charity that operates on Malaita and provides services to children in extreme poverty. If you want to donate toward my goal, I'll match your funds. That's it for part 1 of this series. Thanks for watching. There's more to come.